All right, recording in progress. That means the lucky people who are here, I think, is that 15 tickets you get? I think it is, just for showing up. Oh my gosh. You online in the internet world probably wish you were here to get 15 tickets.
Hey, Doc, you're muted.
All right. All right, you guys hearing me now? Somebody muted me, we're unmuted. Good to go. You guys hear me? Not the people in person. Yes. Are they hearing everything? Okay. So to recap, the end story I'm going to talk about, of the three pillars, we want all three of them to be working correctly. If we do not have one of them working correctly, severe trouble can happen. The one that this one fellow is, I'm not going to use his real name, but I'm going to call him Joe. The one pillar that Joe did not recognize is the one that most people cheat on, and it led to severe issues in his life. So let's think about what most people struggle with nowadays. Any ideas what it is? And we're not allowed to say war. Stress, yes. And in that stress, they'll say, Doc, I have issues with anxiety, depression, brain fog, chronic fatigue, inflammation, or poor sleep. So what I want to understand is those things I just listed off are one of them, basically everybody has one of them going on. And what we want to understand is these three pillars that we're going to go into are going to help you stabilize, if not fix, these areas in your life. Because what we need to make sure that's working correctly is our brain, our body, and our emotional resilience. If all of that is working correctly, then we will be able to adapt to life. So the first pillar is very simple. Very simple. I'm going to say it again. Very, very simple.
Vagus nerve.
No, the answer is not vagus nerve. From the crowd, the answer was vagus nerve. No, it is not vagus nerve. That was close. We are going to talk about movement. Oh my gosh. Body or bowel movement. Both are very important. I would recommend body is important too, but if you do not have enough bowels, obviously we're going to have some issues with that as well. That will come into the second one we're going to go into. So simple movements. Now, am I talking about running a triathlon? No. Am I talking about climbing Mount Everest? No. Am I talking about playing even a hardcore sport? No. We're talking about walking. We're talking about doing a wall squat. We're talking about, I'm going to go for a little walk around the mall or around the corner or whatever I want to do. I'm going to go walk and see some birds. I'm just going to move. So that movement, what is it going to affect in us? Why is movement so important? Movement will, number one, push more blood to the brain. Now, what does blood do? If we're not aware, blood is going to move nutrients, that's energy and oxygen to the brain, as well as it'll move some neurotransmitters as well. But it's mainly energy and oxygen. Now, the brain is an energy rich or uses a lot of energy. Roughly 20% of all the energy in our body is used by our brain. So moving more blood is important there. Moving more oxygen is important there. It also moves neurotransmitters there. So that's like your serotonin, your dopamine, your GABA, your norepinephrine, all the things that make your brain communicate. And it also will increase BDNF. And you go, what is that? It's not some crazy new move or some new thing that the kids are talking about. It's not a new dance. What it is, it's brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which in simple words means it gives the brain fertilizer to make new connections. So movement will make your brain connect better. Movement will make your brain have more oxygen. Movement will make your brain have more neurotransmitters. Well, Doc, this sounds like a simple fertilizer to make everything work correctly. Yes, that's why I said it was simple. So what do we want to look at? What are these movements that we can do? Walking, playing something, running, what? Just move your body. The things that kids do, that's all I say you do. Just move. If you're like, well, it's I don't know. I need to have a pattern. Okay, walk around Wash Park 3 times then. Whatever your thing is, like it can be tennis, it can be skiing, it can be strength training, it can be mobility training, it can be walking up and down the street. But what I need you to understand is each movement does a specific thing to your brain. So there are movements that will make your balance work better. There are movements that will make your brainstem work better. There are movements that will make the whole system work better. And those movements determine what you're training. So when we look at the brain, the cerebellum here is all about balance. So if you want a movement that will help you with balance, you want to do cerebellar training. What is cerebellar training? Standing on one foot, standing with one foot in front of the other, standing on 2 feet with your eyes closed, standing on 1 foot with your eyes closed, crossing your arms. It's basically balance training. And if you want to get really hardcore, what you do is like, oh, I can stand on 1 foot with my eyes closed. Cool. Stand on 1 foot with your eyes closed and move your leg side to side and see if you don't fall over and see if you can stand up. That's going to increase it. And then if you really want to get on balance going, you can also do for cerebellar, you can do what are called one-legged deadlifts or one-legged squats. I forget the name. But basically what it looks like is you stand on one leg, you hold 2 weights, you go down, touch the floor, and come back up. And if you want to get really good, then you go down slowly. You go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, touch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will increase your balance exponentially. So it's all about cerebellar training. That is one simple one. So if you're like, well, Doc, I'm just having problems with balance alone. Okay, stand on 2 feet and see if you fall over. If you don't fall over, we're doing okay. Then start with standing on 1 foot. And how do we do it? If we can't do it with 1 foot, we have our hands on a chair or a table or something sturdy, stand on 1 foot, and we just start doing it daily. Can we do it? Our goal for our cerebellum is to be able to stand on 1 foot with our eyes closed for at least 60 seconds. If we can't do that, we're in a neurodegenerative state and we're progressively getting worse. It's putting you in the ages of 60 to 70 years of age, neurologically. We can turn it around, but that's the goal. The key is the more you stimulate it, the more it'll come back. So that's cerebellum. The next one we're going to talk about is brainstem. So what trains your brainstem? There are different ways to train it. The easiest one is a fun one. You smell things. Different smells actually stimulate your brainstem to downregulate. That's why if you smell the roses, it actually calms you down. It's actually inhibiting the brainstem from being overreactive. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is actually with eye movements. So if you want to train your brain stem with eye movements, you put your thumb in front, move your head side to side, move your head up and down. Then if you want to go really hard, you go opposite. And if your eyes go blurry, it means we got to work on it. It means we got some cerebellar stuff going on. So that's an easy activity to train your brainstem. If you want to work on it and speed it up, we do it in the office with laser, and we can help you stabilize your brainstem quicker. So that's going to be brainstem. And then coordinated movements is going to be for the motor cortex. So that's going to be like running, cross crawling, hitting something, throwing something, catching something. Playing a sport is a coordinated movement. Bowling, playing any racket sports. One of the key ones that a lot of racket sports bring up is that, and I'm prone to tennis, so I love tennis, but all racket sports have the same thing, is that they show if you use a racket sport, they're called the healthiest sports on earth because they actually train the brain. So the more you do above your head, the more you actually train your cerebellum frontal cortex to all work correctly. So if you do a racket sport, that can be tennis, that can be badminton, that can be the thing that annoys me a bunch, but if you play it, it's good. Pickleball, that can be, I'm just biased. If you play it, I'm very happy that you play it. But any racket sport, if you play it, will actually help with your longevity, help with your brain health. So if you're like, well, I don't really want to do anything. Okay, go buy a pickleball racket and for you and your friend and start hitting the ball back and forth. And it will literally help you work better, your brain work better, and heal. So that's a simple thing you want to do. If you want to go down other sports, that's cool. The key is racket sports are really, really good for your brain. They've been shown scientifically to add up to 7 to 9 years of your life because it helps decrease the brain degeneration. Do we have any questions on movement? We're good out there in the land. Okay, perfect. So movement is number 1 on the 3-legged stool. Number 2 is fuel. That means, what do we eat? Is what we're eating helping us, or is what we're eating hindering us? So what do we think are the foods that help us? Are they neon red and come from a box? Doritos, yes, is full of glutamine and crazy addictive properties. Yeah. No. So obviously, the more refined it is, the worse it is for you. So how we understand this is if we look at food, how many ingredients are in it? So if we buy an apple, how many ingredients is in an apple? It says apple, right? Or it could be wax. From the crowd, they said wax, unless they're organic and there's no wax and all that stuff on it. So it's apple or chicken or broccoli. If you're buying something that has less than 3 ingredients, you're usually okay. 4 starts getting problems. Once you go past that and you see all the list of stuff, that means ultra processed. And in simplistic terms, that means blood sugar spike. That's all you need to understand. Because a bunch of those things in there are, and if you really want to blow yourself away, look at food additives that are neurostimulants. And there's literally like 40 different ways to say the same thing, which are all addictive. They're more addictive. The food additives are more addictive than heavy narcotics. They're more addictive than dopamine itself. So it's really, really crazy to see what they'll actually do. So what we're going to look at is brain's using a lot of energy. If our brain is not using energy correctly because our sugar is going up and down, guess what happens? We get anxiety. We get mood shifts. We get brain fog. We get depression. We get energy high and lows. And this is the one that most people don't know. We actually get hormone imbalances. So why would we get hormone imbalances? When your sugars go high and low, your body doesn't want to waste the sugar. So what it does is it takes the sugar, converts it in your liver to a thing called triglycerides, which then bind, because if you have too much, they circulate around and then they bind to all the hormone receptor sites. So what's a hormone receptor site? Insulin. Oh, now I have diabetes. Okay, that's not good. Thyroid. Oh, now I have Hashimoto's, or I have a low energy, high energy issue. Testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. We don't want those things to not be working correctly, right? Because that controls our energy, our moods, and a lot of those things. So if we have sugars going up and down, it literally can lead to all of those things. So if any of us watched the movie Super Size Me, so in the movie Super Size Me, this guy ate McDonald's for every meal, and he started with, they took metabolic panels, everything, and all he did was eat McDonald's 3 meals a day, and he did it for a month. And by the end of a month of eating it 3 meals a day, he had type 2 diabetes and depression because of the sugar and the amount of salts and the amount of things that were just causing blood sugars to go up and down, up and down, up and down. So what I'm showing you here is that your blood sugar stability literally can be the determinant of anxiety, depression, and issues like that. So what we want to understand is ultra-processed, refined sugars, seed oils, and artificial additives. Those are the toxins that affect us. Now, understand seed oils by themselves, and this is why they can put them in your food, are not toxic. Large amounts of seed oils are toxic. So what are seed oils? Canola oil, rapeseed oil, anything that is not the ones I'm going to explain to you right now. The ones that are healthy for you are avocado, olive, walnut. Most people don't buy walnut because it's expensive. Beef tallow, and butter. Now, if you're allergic to dairy, you can't touch the butter. So most people go to avocado or olive oil. The rest of them, vegetable oils, extremely toxic. Now, it's toxic in the way that it affects you. So if you take in a large amount of it, you make too much of what's called omega-6s. If you eat any meat, you get omega-6. Omega-6 breaks down into what's called arachidonic acid, which is a bunch of ways for me to tell you, if you eat a lot of it, it makes you inflamed, which will make inflammation happen. So basically, seed oils like canola oil, vegetable oil, rapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, they all are industrial seed oils, which means corn oil. They're not naturally occurring. And if you have too much of them, they will cause chronic inflammation in your body. The thing is if you have the right ratio of them for 3 to 6, they don't cause any problems. But because they're in everything, we're getting overabundance of it, and it makes us sick. So if you want to stay healthy, the key is to take omega-3s, just omega-3s, not 369, not 69, just omega-3. Because if you eat any meat and ever eat out of a container, you're getting the 6s. If it ever says canola oil or rapeseed or any of the oils in there, you're getting a ton of omega-6s. That will cause chronic inflammation. The omega-6 to 3 ratio should be at 1 to 1. The average American runs between 25 to 100. That's why they have so much inflammation. It's because they're not getting any omega-3s, or the ones they're getting is really low, and they're getting tons of omega-6s. The reason they can still put it in the food is because if it's at the right ratio, it's not toxic for you. But if it's the wrong, it's overabundance, it's causing chronic brain body inflammation. Does this make sense? Yes.
What about coconut oil?
Coconut oil is good as well. Yes, I missed that one out, but that is good as well. Correct. All right. So blood sugar stability, really, really, really important. So what are the things that we want to eat to make sure our blood sugar is nice and stable? We want to eat things that are high in protein, high in healthy fats, high in fiber. That's basically what it is. So what does that mean? It's the stuff that wasn't processed. So you're eating vegetables, you're eating fruits, you're eating, and depending on body type, the amount of the fruit can fluctuate. You're eating protein, you're eating different forms of protein. These will help you feel satiated. So the fat, the protein, the fiber, they make you feel full. And then because you digest slowly, then you don't get the sugar cravings. That make sense? So an example, let's say you're somebody who's eating a lot of processed foods. Guess where 90% of all the serotonin, that means the stress, deal with things, be in the happy state of joy, where does that come from? Your tummy, exactly. So if you're eating junk, you're destroying the good bacteria and making bad. So this is the crazy thing that most people don't know. There's not like an abundance of bad bacteria. There's really only 18. And they all live in acidic environments, which means if you're eating sugar, you make your brain, or a basic, I mean. If you're eating sugar, you make your gut basic, but you make your blood acidic. Now, what it's supposed to be is the gut is acidic and the blood is basic. That's what's healthy. But there are hundreds of thousands of good bacteria. So how do you colonate your good bacteria in your gut? The differences of fiber Each fiber makes a different bacteria. So if you eat an olive, that's a different bacteria. If you eat a peach, that's a different bacteria. If you eat, and so that's why you eat the colors of the rainbow. If you remember back from, maybe you guys didn't have that, but they're supposed to eat the colors of the rainbow, and that's because you're getting fibers. And so what I've learned, through functional medicine, is that if you want a healthy gut, you want 30 different fibers per day. You go, that's a lot, doc. Spices count. So the cheat code I use is you can get freeze-dried spices from, it's like non-salt seasoning from Costco, and it has like 40 different vegetables that are all dried out in there. Just put it on your food, and now you're getting all the different bacteria. If you want to speed that up, you can also take a product that we have called Enterovite, which actually feeds the bacteria. It's a pre and probiotic to make the bacteria work correctly, and then your serotonin levels come up. And then you can make depression go away. So we've had people, all we do is gut health on them, and their depression goes away. Or other people, it's neuroinflammation, and you have to do both. So you have to figure out what's actually driving the underlying issue. All right, so we've done 2 of them. We've got movement and food. What do we think the last one is? Any ideas?
The vagus nerve.
The answer is not vagus nerve. I know it usually is, but it's not vagus nerve. Okay, so the answer for this one is recovery. So recovery, what do we think that means? It means sleep. It means, are we sleeping? Why is sleep important? Any ideas?
Body does a lot of restoration.
Exactly, restoration during sleep. There's 2 things that mainly happen during sleep. So when you get into delta sleep, you're actually healing your body itself. So that means you actually heal the tissue. So that's why if you've had people and they have huge car accidents, they induce deep sleep to make the body heal. That's why they'll put you in a coma. But also during sleep, you get, and this is the REM or the rapid eye movement, you're supposed to have, remember correctly, 1 hour of that per night and then 2 hours of delta sleep per night, and then you're healthy. During that 1 hour of REM sleep, that's when you do your emotional working through the day, your emotional psychology or therapy on yourself. So if you're not getting sleep, you're literally having buildup of stress throughout the days on you, and it's causing major issues. The other interesting thing about sleep is that during the day, your brain metabolizes stuff. So let's put it this way. During the day, let's say you have a car, and this car drives around in a bubble. So what do cars put off? Exhaust, right? So during the day, when you turn off the car and your car goes to sleep, that's when the bubble lets all the exhaust out. Well, what happens with your brain is when you sleep, your brain shrinks. And it actually removes all the toxic load from metabolism that you had during that day. It's called the glymphatic system. So it's the glial cells that actually move all the toxins out of your brain. So if you have a head injury, the number one thing we need you to do is sleep, besides putting all the nutrients and all that stuff in to make you heal. Sleep is extremely important because it's literally like a sponge. The brain will literally shrink by, if I remember correctly, like 5 to 10%, and it will literally squeeze all the inflammation out into the drainage system, the lymph system, and move it all out. And that's the byproduct of metabolism. So it's the byproduct of using sugar and proteins and fats and the neurotransmitters and getting it out. Well, if you don't get that out, you get the buildup of the toxins. If you get the buildup of the toxins, you get inflammation. And if you get inflammation, then you start getting neurodegeneration and misfiring, and you get all these funky things that build up. So sleeping literally heals your brain. Yes?
I'm curious because I've heard that after a concussion, they're like, don't sleep. Is that?
Oh, so the question is, after a concussion, don't sleep. That is because they want to make sure that you did not injure your brainstem and you don't die. So that's why they want to keep waking you up.
For 24 hours, right?
It's a short period of time, but you need sleep. So they're trying to make sure you're not injuring your brainstem. If they wanted to be 100% certain, all they would need to do is do an MRI. Oh, we don't see anything. Go to sleep. Everything's fine. So they're worried about the brainstem being damaged, and that's what's going to die. And so you stop breathing.
So it's not that sleeping staying awake helps. It's more of a.
No, it's an acute response. So it's like, I cut my arm, acute response, put pressure on it. But do I walk around with my hand on my arm for the rest of my life? No, it's the same thing. So acute response, I want to make sure you don't die. So they're actually stopping you from dropping into deep sleep because that could kill you, because you could drop into such a low brainwave state that your brainstem would actually turn off. Because your frontal lobe's still on, it's telling you everything how to work, but you get into that deep sleep and you could die. That's why they're saying that, but that's only for one day. It's not for like, it's like don't sleep that night, and then it's, yeah, get as much sleep into as possible. So if you're not sleeping, you're not pushing all those toxins out. And that means you're being bathed in inflammation. And then that's going to lead to a lot of issues. So what happens is if we don't sleep, then we'll have chronic inflammation. We'll go into hypervigilance. So this is your OCD. This is your, I have to get everything right. This is, I think about everything over and over again, or I got to think of all possibilities in the future. This is telling me hypervigilance, brain in protective mode, ruminating on stuff. You're not going to get better. So what are simple things that we can do that will help us have our brain recover? A lot of this stuff you guys know, but we just need to, usually I have to tell you 7 or 8 times and then we actually do it. So like we've got from the crowd, the vagus nerve is important. That's awesome, because I've probably told you every single talk for at least 2 to 3 years. But this one, what are things that are going to help us? And there's a couple here that most people don't do. And these are simple. So have we ever heard of phone fasting or media fasting or anything like that? So what that means is the number one thing that your brain needs is no stimulation for a period of time, like 10 minutes a day, and it will literally help you work through everything that's going on. So you go for a walk, you're not thinking about anything, and then you notice you start talking about your troubles, and then everything starts getting better. And it's because you're not looking at your phone, you're not feeding stuff into your brain, you're actually allowing it to process. You're allowing it to move through things. Obviously, no screen time before you go to bed. 30 minutes before bed would be good. If you are doing screen time, blue blocker glasses will help you because it decreases the stimulation. But the mental break, if you can do 30 minutes a day, awesome. If you can't, do 10. If you can't do that, do 5. If you can't do 5, I don't know what to do to help you. Because 5 minutes, you can literally schedule 5 minutes. That's all I can say. Just schedule 5 minutes and just sit there and go, this is my 5 minutes of doing nothing. And just do nothing.
You could knit or crochet.
Yeah, you can knit, you can crochet, go for a walk. You're just not allowed to put stuff in. You're not allowed to read.
Oh, what about a puzzle?
A puzzle is fine, yeah. Creativity, problem solving,
Okay.
creativity is okay. Looking at things, that's more right brain stuff, that's okay. Puzzle could kind of be on it. But yeah, you're basically doing stuff that's not making you think hard about what's going on. So staying away from screens, mental breaks, quiet time, and creativity, these are the things that are going to drop down and allow the brain to relax. If you want to make sure, if you have sleep problems, do a routine where you always go to bed at the same time. Do a routine where it's blackout. Do a routine where you have white noise. If you really want to set it up, what determines when your melatonin is going to kick in and your cortisol is going to drop is the first exposure to light in the morning. So when you expose light in the morning, it literally sets you up, tells the cortisol when to spike, and then roughly 16 hours after that, your melatonin goes up and your serotonin or your cortisol drops. So you setting yourself up, you're like, well, it's dark where I am. Cool. Get a light box and put it in front of your face for like 5 minutes then. This is what they do with people that live in Norway and in dark countries. They literally put their face in front of a light, at full spectrum light, and that will help your brain reset your cortisol level so you can go to sleep. If you wake up and you don't get that full spectrum light, you're getting that blue light, you're looking at your phone for 2 to 3 hours, then you're not going to get your first cortisol spike till you walk outside. Well, if you don't walk outside till noon, then you're not going to get your melatonin drop until
4 a.m.
Exactly, and that's when you fall asleep. So that's why we want to get that sunlight real early in the morning. It sets up your circadian rhythm, which is your cortisol and melatonin levels. That make sense? So what are the questions for the day to make sure that we're doing well? Did I move? Exercise. What did I eat? Now, I want you to understand, if you cheat, that's fine. Just don't cheat every day. Because that's not cheating, it's just how you're eating. Yeah. The other thing that is really hard, specifically for me and a lot of adrenal people, it's eating late at night. Understand that when you eat late at night, you actually spike your cortisol, and that makes you stay up later, and it's harder for you to fall asleep. And then you won't sleep as well. So if you're eating late at night, high salt, high sugar products will mess with you. If you eat high protein, high fiber, high fat, it will help you. That's why they're talking about, you've seen these longevity things in their stuff, and they're telling you take a shot of olive oil. That's because it's going to keep your sugars sustained through the night. It'll keep your energy level sustained, and it will keep you feeling satiated. So those are the big things. But if you're like, no, I'm just going to have some popcorn with some caramel on it, and yeah, you're going to have a hard sleep. You're not going to wake up rested.
A shot of olive oil at night work helps.
A shot of olive oil at night will help, yes.
Or like avocado.
Half an avocado will help, yes. You got fiber in the avocado as well, so that's really, really good. Yes, even for the adrenal types, avocado, olive oil is really, really good at night. The main thing adrenal type bodies need to watch out is beef, dairy, shellfish, salt. Protein, any other form besides beef, you're fine. Make sense?
Beef's my favorite.
Yeah, beef's my favorite too, and I'm an adrenal. I understand your quandary. But understand, you eat that beef, you get that spike, you get the hunger. And then you eat the stuff you're not supposed to eat. So those are the ones. The other one, understand that when we drink alcohol, that is straight sugar. So you drink the alcohol, and then you get the sugar cravings right after. Then I need to eat the candy or the cookies or whatever else you need to eat, and that's literally driven by the alcohol. Does that make sense? Because you're spiking and then coming up and down. So let's talk about Joe. Joe had 2 of these pieces of the stool perfectly set up, and the third one he missed. What do you think, though, is the one that most people screw with? Is it exercise, is it food, or is it sleep?
Well, Joe seems like type A, so I'm going to go with sleep.
It's sleep. That's correct. Most people will sacrifice sleep for everything else. But what we learned, if you don't sleep, what happens to your brain? You don't get rid of the inflammation, and it builds up. So there are ways to cheat with that. There's ways to do that. If you take glutathione, it'll help the brain. If you take turmeric, specifically curcumin. Turmeric is actually hard on your kidneys. So curcumin and resveratrol, or berries and fruits, that will help with your brain. Omega-3s will help with your brain as well. But Joe is a lawyer. This is one of my clients. And what he did is he literally ate a really good diet, worked out a bunch, but sacrificed sleep to the point where he was trying to work 3 time zones. And these weren't normal time zones. This was Prague, Australia, and Denver. And because he thought he was eating so well and exercising, he could take a little stimulant like some Ritalin.
That seems like a bad idea.
It is a bad idea. So what happened with Joe is after a week of doing this, he had a heart attack. And Joe's no longer with us. And I wish he was still with us, because he was a very smart, educated man who did all the things right except for didn't take care of his sleep. Understand those three parts of the triangle. If you're doing all of them at 30%, it's better than doing 100, 100, and 0. Does that make sense? Question.
We keep getting a question online. How many milligrams of omega-3s per day is recommended?
So the question is how many milligrams? The answer is actually grams. The answer is 3 to 5 grams per day, which is 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams per day of omega-3. Not 6, not 9. That's how much you need. If you have an inflamed brain, you're up close to the 5. They've done studies where they push people up into 20 grams of omega-3 per day, and they've seen removal of ADD, ADHD, anxiety symptoms, because it gets inflammation out of the brain. That's a lot of oil, though. It's a lot of oil.
In the bottle it comes in.
Yeah, so in the bottle, it'll come in. Understand it's grams per day. 3,000 is the break even. The clinical dosage is 5 grams per day, which is 5,000 milligrams per day. All right. So why I bring this up is I'd rather have you do 50% of all than sacrifice one of them. Each one is very important. You can't say, well, I'm eating really good and I exercise really good, but I just need to do my stay up for 24 hours and 48 hours. That's going to kill you because your brain doesn't get rid of the problems. It won't get rid of that inflammation. So understand each one is very, very important. I want to thank you guys for being here, and I want you to think of your friends and family members and help them understand that yes, food is good, yes, exercise is good, but sleep is very important as well. And if it's sleep and food, but we're not exercise, that's important as well. They all are equally important. So if you're like, well, I'm getting overwhelmed, it's too much. Okay, go for a 10-minute walk a day. Go on that little box and look at YouTube and ask it how, well, now with ChatGPT and all these AIs, ask it how to make stuff. And it will literally tell you how to make any organic, whatever you want. I learned how to make gluten-free, dairy-free, everything free pretzels that actually tasted good, like soft pretzels. It was crazy. You just ask and it will teach you.
Chocolate avocado ice.
There we go. Chocolate avocado. So what I'm saying to you is there's answers out there. You're not stuck where you are. You can find the answers. You just need to help, to look. And if you need help, come and talk to me. If your friends and family needs help and you're like, well, I really need to help them out, we have our Patient Appreciation Week coming up. It's at the end of the month. That's when you can get them in, get the full exam at that discounted $20 fee. So think of that person, make a change for them, and have a blessed night.